But man, talk about just bad news.
Yep.
We're not. Are we live?
We're live.
That is some bad news.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that now, though.
Nope.
Nobody wants to care about that.
Nobody cares. Or do they?
I'm actually excited about the stuff Mark just learned about.
Yep,
We're going to be
absolutely.
hearing about Microsoft hardware. Yeah.
Everybody loves Microsoft hardware.
Yeah, looks like we're up and running everywhere. So address your loyal fan base.
Hey, everybody. Mark Hockman is here.
Hey, guys.
There he is.
Our top Microsoft reporter,
Wow.
fresh back from New York on no sleep, so he's going to talk all kinds of crazy stuff
Yep.
about
I'm on Ambien.
on Microsoft hardware and Microsoft software. We're going to be talking about the Windows update, what to expect.
Windows
Oh, my
10.
I can tell you what to. I can tell you. what I'm
Oh, save it for
experiencing when we get
later.
there.
Save it for later.
I think everyone is excited for the new version of Windows.
Yep.
I think so. I can't wait to.
Yep.
We'll talk about that later.
We got Sufjan over on Facebook. We got iTobes TV, who's asking for us to sub to their channel, but we're not going to do that. Sorry. Come back later. Try again a different day. All right. I think we're up and running. Oh, Rusty's here.
Rusty.
Hello, Rusty. And
I see
Fernando.
Rusty everywhere.
Shackelford.
There's many Rusty Shacklefords, which makes sense. 'cause
Yes.
That does tie into that whole Rusty Shackelford thing.
He is everywhere. All right. I think we're ready, so let's do it.
Let's roll it.
Right? In this episode of Full Nerd, Microsoft still makes hardware and what to expect from Windows Update when you're expecting Windows.
Oh, hold on. I messed up.
What?
Hold on.
Damn it,
Hold
you think
on.
I can do
I'm
that
sorry.
again?
Man.
Look at that. That was like the first time.
Oh, man, I messed up. Big time. All
I think
right.
that was the first time ever that you nailed it in the first go.
Can't we just edit that in there?
Yeah, that was my bad. I'm sorry. let's do that again.
Yeah, see, now I got Mark's reaction. He's like, oh, man, that's some shade Gordon just threw at the Microsoft hardware division.
Sorry.
What?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in this episode of the Full Nerd, Microsoft still makes it. Yeah, okay. In this episode of the Full Nerd, Microsoft still makes hardware and what to expect from Windows Update when you're expecting Windows. Damn it.
I did it right this time. Woo!
Welcome to the Full Nerd episode 70. I'm your host, Gordon Mong, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hello, Internet.
Top Microsoft reporter Mark Hockman joins us.
Hey, guys.
And Adam Patrick Murray is going to try not to mess up the vertical and the horizontal today.
It's not always a guarantee, but first off, I have to apologize. If you hear some loud noises, we are literally doing some construction right outside this room, so you might hear some loud noises. If not, then don't worry about it and go upon your day and talk about
same
the new.
here.
Oh,
It's not because my kid's home. It's because we have construction outside.
Nice.
Really?
Construction everywhere.
and it's not because your kid's pounding outside trying to get in.
No, my kid's homesick. So if you hear a loud noise at my end, it's because my kid's
Okay, that's
homesick.
good.
Brad's kid got locked out last time during the podcast, and he
just
did the right
stared at me
thing.
balefully the
and
entire
just
time.
did not go out and let the kid in. Made the kid sit out there. It was like sub-freezing temperatures in New Hampshire, too.
Mark, how do you treat your children? We can. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Instead, let's talk about how you treat
There we
Microsoft
go.
with these new Surface updates. Why don't you run us through the products, huh?
Sure. So I think that we sort of, so first of all, everyone sort of expected an incremental update to these Surface products, which is what it turned out to be. I mean, the idea is if you have a live stream, then it's something new. If you don't have a live stream, then it's something that's, a little bit less important, and that's what we had. So we, there was a whole, sit down in New York, try to tweet and take notes and,
But
do
no
all
live
this.
stream.
No live stream, yeah.
So
during
that's
this all.
like, because that's not because they're hiding something.
No, it wasn't hiding something. It was just a little less, I guess, a little less important than previous versions. Where although they didn't have a live stream for the Surface Book 2, and I thought the Surface Book 2 was great. So
Really? Oh, that's right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Surface Book 2 was a big upgrade.
it was a big upgrade. Yeah, they didn't have a live stream. Yeah, although they had a power problem, so maybe that was one they didn't.
So if they don't have the live stream, how do they have the audience clapping? Because I'm used to that.
Well, okay, so interestingly enough, they had Windows Insider fans that they brought in and sort of put in the back of the room. So yes, we had the contingent of people that were like, yeah, yeah, and everyone else was,
Taking
a little
notes
bit,
and tweeting.
yeah, taking notes and a little bit less,
I
enthusiastic.
don't know what's
about the whole
worse.
thing.
Is the Apple forcing all employees to go to the theater and then making them clap?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's part of the. I will say, a part of the performance review at Apple is how loud you clapped at Apple keynotes. But also, like, where do you get these Windows Insider? We've already
They flew
derailed
them in, as far as I know.
Where do you get? How do you become a Windows Insider Update fan?
I don't know, but you can be part of the Windows Insider program, and I guess you have to be sort of loudly enthusiastic about it to get invited to one of these things. So,
Brad's a huge
Yeah.
fan. We'll talk about that later because he's got something he wants to clap about later with the update.
So Surface hardware, like I said, they were sort of incremental. So we had 4 products. We had the Surface Pro 6. We're actually in the 9th generation of Surface tablets, 6th generation of Surface Pro.
All right, I got to ask this though, Mark,
Yep,
because
right.
we went from Surface Pro,
Yeah.
no Pro, Pro
Pro.
2, Pro 3,
Yeah,
Pro 4,
right.
no Pro, no 5. It was just Surface Pro.
Yeah,
remember?
it was just that's
no
right.
more,
It was Surface
no more
Pro
numbers.
2017. Yeah, it was the reboot. You know how they did it for like Tomb Raider and stuff like that, right?
But now it's 6.
Now it's 6. Yeah.
Why did they go back to numbers? Okay.
I don't know. But they
This is
were
Microsoft.
Because Microsoft, yeah, exactly. So we had the Surface Pro 6, the Surface Laptop 2, the Surface Studio 2, as well as the sort of the surprise of the evening, which was the headphones, which are actually pretty cool. So, spec bumps, again, these were, the core. So we had, first of all, everybody gets excited about colors. I don't know why people get excited about colors, but everything was in black.
You get to
That was
express your
exciting.
personality.
I guess so.
You know?
We had the original Surface and Surface Pro in black. So this was sort of this harkening back to the roots type thing. I don't know. I don't care. But, with the Surface Pro 6, the whole point of it was, okay, A, it was black, B, it was 8th generation core, except for the Surface Studio 2, which was 7th generation stuff. We'll talk about that in a second,
that's
I guess.
bizarre.
That was bizarre. Which was also, incidentally, the most powerful Surface. I don't know why they...
Right, so Pro 5 was just a KB Lake part, right?
Right, this is KB Lake R.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's a couple of, the interesting thing for me was, okay, if you've used the Surface Pro 2017, the Surface Pro 6 is identical. Same dimensions, same weight, same screen,
Keyboard
same
compatibility,
keyboards, all that stuff.
No port change, no USB-C.
No port change. Nope. No, I know that's the thing, right? So everybody, it's stuck with the USB. Everybody sort of, I guess, wanted USB-C. I don't know that USB-C would have made a difference without Thunderbolt. I don't know. USB-C is great and all, but I don't know.
You know what I like? Dell does this where they offer their old-fashioned proprietary barrel charger because everybody's got a drawer full of the chargers,
Right.
And then they have a USB-C port that supports power,
Right.
and you can charge either way. I would, if they had done that, that would be good, graceful way to exit from the Surface connector, but.
I like the Surface connector because it has compatibility with all the chargers. It also has that Surface dock, which has been around forever. But I can just take a Surface, plug it into my Surface dock, and just swap it back and forth with another Surface if I want to.
Yeah, that's why I don't agree with a lot of the tech press saying, "Oh my God, where's no USB-C? It's a fail." It's like, you know what? People who have Surface, they live Surface, they have the connector.
That's right.
I've got 3 or 4 of the power bricks. I don't want to throw them away.
Yep.
And I actually like the power connector because it's magnetic, except that it frays like an Apple power brick. But other than that.
Now let's talk a little bit about some of the funky stuff with the Surface Pro 6, because that's the kind of the weird stuff. So it looks on the surface like the same. However, because it's Microsoft, there's 2 Surface Pro 6s. There's the Surface Pro 6 for consumers, and then officially named the Surface Pro 6 for business. Now, what's the difference between the two? $100. So yeah, there's actually 2 product pages. There's actually different SKUs. And let me actually just see if I can find the...
Is one like a V Pro version?
There's exactly a V Pro version. So
Got it.
consumer gets the 8250U and the 8650U, which is, again, KB Lake R. The commercial gets 8350U, which is V Pro, and the 8650U itself. Now, the difference is, again, the V Pro, and then you get a better warranty for the commercial stuff. But this is the thing.
Is it Pro versus Home too?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Pro operating system versus home operating system. So here's the thing that kind of made me a little bit upset. So in the I took a picture of this, but it's obviously not the live stream, so it wasn't a huge deal. But they had sort of minimum prices for the Surface Pro 6 and the Surface Laptop 2, and it was $899 for the Surface Pro 6. Well, the problem is if you go to the Surface Pro 6 consumer page, that option isn't available. So it's actually $1299. And you're going, what's the deal here? I don't understand. So yeah, you only get a Core i5 8 gigabyte and 256 gigabyte is the minimum spec for consumer. Now, so how do they get down to $899? Through something called Surface Pro 6 Essentials. And this is where I'm just in the process of putting a story together on this because I think this is kind of a bait and switch. So Surface Pro 6 Essentials gives you that 128 8 gigabyte Core i5 SKU, but it makes you buy a type cover and it makes you buy Office 365. All of those three parts are required. So it's additional $129 or $99 if you want a black one, and $79 or $80 basically, or $50 for Office.
Holy smokes! It's
lame.
It's like a Comcast contract, right? It's like, how much is this? $29.99 for 6 months. After 6 months, how much is it? $29.99 for 6 months. After 6 months.
It just strikes me as wrong. I mean, it does.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
AMD did something similar when they launched the Vega cards, where you could only get them if you bought them with packs of games.
Right.
Like they're like, yeah, it's $500, but really it's $650. But you get these 3 free games, and it's not what you're selling. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, totally agree. And then they did essentially the same thing for the Surface Laptop 2. And the Surface Laptop 2 is essentially the same product as the Surface Laptop 1. I loved it because it had fantastic battery life. They had afterwards we had a couple of like the new Dell, for example, that had a great battery life as well. The interesting thing with the Surface Laptop 2, of course, well, there's the pricing aspect as well, and there's the same Surface Laptop 2 for consumer and Surface Laptop 2 for business. But the interesting thing here is that, and you guys will be happy with this, Windows 10S is gone.
Oh.
Yeah. So it came, Surface Laptop originally came with Windows 10S or Windows 10 and S mode, and now it's just Windows 10 Home.
Good.
So, yep. So.
Because if you went back and read your review, and pretty much every review that I read, everyone is like, this is an awesome laptop, but it really sucks that it comes with this GIMP version of Windows.
The GIMP version of Windows, though, gave you about an hour and a half more battery life, although is that a big deal when you've already got like 15 or 16 hours? I don't know.
Yeah, as a percentage, it was just very small.
Right.
And I got to say, though, I'm pretty harsh on Windows 10S, but I tried living the Windows 10S lifestyle for a little bit. And if you are a pure worker drone, you can get by staying in Windows 10S mode because Office is there. The Windows Store, which has traditionally been, shelves of Walmart after a zombie apocalypse. There's actually stuff in there. It sometimes still feels like a discount store because everything is like, oh, you want to buy access your Google Mail from this application from, written by some dude in Zimbabwe or something. You never know. But there's a lot of Slack is in there.
Yeah, you can always use web apps too if you don't want to actually download the app.
Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The only issue with me, not the only issue because I'm a gamer, but the issue with me with 10S mode is being locked down to Edge. It's a compromise.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fine. No.
But Surface Laptop 2, is it Core M or is it a full?
No, it's Core. It's i5, i7.
Okay.
Yep.
Full on, but it's a KB Lake R, so it's a quad part. Okay.
Same parts as the Surface Pro 6.
Interesting. I wonder have they done anything to beef up the thermals of the Surface Pro 6 or the Surface Laptop? Or
supposedly the panel's a bit thinner on the laptop, and they revamped the cooling system to enable the 8th gen parts, but nothing that's really obvious at the outside.
Okay.
Yeah. So now third was the Surface Studio 2, and
big upgrades there, Mark.
Yeah,
big
well,
upgrades.
I mean, here it's one of those machines that I didn't want to give it back. I mean, it's got this big, huge, wonderful panel. It looks fantastic. Beautiful. You can I can tell you that I had to work over the weekend when we had it in the office during March Madness, and I just put 4 basketball games up in each corner of the screen. I thought that was fantastic. But one of the things, first of all, as they made the presentation, they were whipping through slides. I mean, there's boom, 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 and they had, just for a brief moment up there, they had the fastest Surface ever for the Surface Studio 2, and I was just like, oh right, 8th generation parts. In fact, we had to be honest with you, I had to correct it because I wrote 8th generation parts. Nope, 7th generation parts.
And that to me is crazy.
It is crazy, and they did it for
it's definitely crazy because they were amping up the fact that they're in 8th gen parts for the laptop and the Pro.
Yep, exactly.
They're like 8th gen, fastest Surface ever.
Yep,
last gen.
Yep. Yeah.
What bugged me about that is during the presentation itself, which wasn't live streamed, so it wasn't public facing, they were talking the graphics as next gen Pascal graphics from NVIDIA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, when you consider the fact that the Turing GPUs launched like 2 weeks ago, and they're truly next gen, and they're here already, it's real disingenuous to me for them to be promoting as next gen Pascal graphics.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, because I was like, oh my God, there's, they've got, because mobile is different than desktop. I don't expect a Turing to show up in laptops anytime soon. I thought, oh my God, there's been rumors of a 1080 Ti for a year and a half. And I thought, oh, they're going to put a 1080 Ti in this thing, right?
Yep.
Mobile. And I asked NVIDIA for comment. They said, we don't comment about that. Are you crazy? Are you nuts? When you wasted internet bandwidth even asking.
What are you, nuts?
When I looked up the specs, and it's like, it's just a 1080. This is a regular 1080 and a 1070, right? I think.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
I'm pretty sure they were just 1080. And it's like there's nothing next generation about it.
Well, the thing is that it is it's a bump faster as far as the GPU than the Surface Book 2. So that's how they get to the fastest studio ever. So it's got a 1060 option or a 1070 option, and then the Surface Book 2 topped out of the 1060.
Right.
But I mean, that's a little bit. I mean, come on.
But so
Especially because doesn't it start at $3,500?
Yeah, but that screen, Brad. The screen is just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you're just
It is
just
really
you
pretty.
see that.
Yeah. And no, they haven't sold a standalone screen either, which is unfortunate.
But so here's my thing though. When the Surface Studio came out, everyone is like, "Oh, this is Pascal, right? 980M." It's like, what? Why are you using old ass hardware in this thing? It's like, and then now here we get the respin. It's like, okay, 1080. All right, what are you gonna do? Right, it's a mobile part, but the CPU kills me.
I mean, the other thing too is that we have NUCs that are in the same form factor as that base that are much more powerful.
Right. So yeah, so for CPU, it's a Core i7 7820HK, I think. HQ. So it's basically the second from the top KB-like part, which is, I gotta say, not that impressive. Coffee Lake parts smoke it in single threaded, and just about everything. And then 6 core versus 4 quad core.
I know. Yeah.
Well, what's up with that?
I mean, it looked fantastic. They had Forza Horizon 4 being played on it, and it looked great.
But
that's
all GPU.
It's also very optimized too. That'll run play well.
1080 is a good 1080 mobile. It's a good part, right? Yeah. And this is not a Max Q, I don't think, right?
I don't think so.
So full 1080. So it's a good part, but
does it get 1080? I thought it topped out at 1070.
Is it?
Oh, sorry, he's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't go 1080. It's 1070.
Or is it probably 1070 Max Q? No, is it a full? I don't know, right? But
they don't specify. I mean, I have to say that Microsoft's playing some very vague games in its product specs. If you look at the Surface Laptop 2 specs or the Surface Pro 6 specs, it just says Core i5 or Core i7. Doesn't even actually specify the chip. You kind of have to hunt it down. So they got some work to do there.
But I mean, I don't understand it because there is just no reason to introduce a $3,500, $4,000 all-in-one with a quad core last generation Intel part.
I totally agree.
Do you think it's because Intel's definitely got shortages of 14 nanometer parts, so everybody's in allocation?
Could be.
Isn't last gen is still 14 nanometer?
Yeah, but I mean, they probably got like a truckload of it because it's like, or maybe Intel just said, hey, you know what, Microsoft, why don't you put some of them ARM chips in there? Oh yeah, you gotta go down to Qualcomm, get some of those, A45s, put them in your Surface Studio.
Yeah. We don't have any Core M parts in any of these, or ARM parts for that matter. So,
I know.
Yeah.
Is the form factor the same
for the Studio?
Yeah,
same thing, same. The only thing that's really changed is they upped the contrast ratio by about 1/3, and the light output is above 500 nits now because they changed some things at the transistor level with the polarizer.
That's nice.
But resolution's the same. Everything else is essentially the same.
So I was wondering if maybe form factor could have played into it, but it's basically the same thing. Then
Looks like it.
Yeah, it would make sense to put in an 8th gen part.
I mean, hell, they're putting Core i9 6-core chips into MacBook Pro 15s. Right? I mean, the throttle's like hell, but they got it in there. So I can't see thermals being an excuse. I can't see space or power or anything. It's
if you're
just
paying
simply
that much for that part, why don't you just go ahead?
It's crazy, right? Yeah. Especially because this is an all-in-one that you would need 6 cores for if you're doing video editing or any of that stuff.
Exactly. That's right.
The really bad news here is if you get a high-end, I'm saying this, you get a high-end iMac Pro will whip this thing silly, right? In CPU, because it's got like,
Yeah, but you can't draw on it.
You can't draw on it. That's true. The screen and the.
I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that it bends down, you can draw on it. You've got the nice dial. I mean, it is.
Comes with a keyboard, pen, and
which are pretty crappy.
No,
but
it comes with the dial actually.
Does the Surface Studio take DisplayPort in or HDMI 2.0 in?
That is a good question.
Because
it's what is it actually? Shoot, I don't know. Actually, it's. Well, first of all, it goes out to an external monitor, but it doesn't actually say. It says there is a USB-C jack, but that doesn't go any farther than that as far as it's describing what it is.
I sort of see the one saving grace of the Surface Studio is in 3 years when you just want to throw the rest of it away, you can just run it as a monitor by running DisplayPort in. Because
well, that's what everyone's wanted for generations, or 2 generations now.
I mean, that would be the way to solve everybody's like, hey, I want this beautiful monitor you have. You won't get the touch necessarily.
Go buy an old one.
Yeah.
Just running the input into it, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised nobody has that's come out with a like one of the monitor manufacturers haven't come out competing.
God, it feels like on the Surface Studio, and anybody if you go to a Microsoft store when you're in the Apple store and you need to catch some breath of fresh air, go into the Microsoft store.
There's nobody in there.
Check out the Studio. It is just like you're like, damn, it is because it is just beautiful, right? Yeah. It's just amazing.
And there are some professional grade. Companies that like Wacom that have their own, their own things, but it's still not as pretty, not as sleek.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not as, I mean, it's just really, I mean, I don't know. I would think if they sold the panel itself they'd sell a truckload of them.
I mean, they took a nice hefty swing at it and they seem to pop out to third. I mean, it would be, they're so close to having like a great product, and it's very good, but it's just not over the top. They could really have crushed it in this. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's
especially because that form factor and the fact that you can lean it down, draw on it. That's such a differentiation point for them. Like, there's nothing else like it, really. And it sucks that it's last gen parts all around.
Mm-hmm.
What about all those rumors of a modular Surface Studio that we all saw?
No, the only modular thing that we've talked about is the Surface Hub 2, which we haven't talked about. That's that next generation part, which is actually sort of there's actually a slot that you slide the CPU and storage out into it, and that's where we if you want to talk about it, we can. And that's the one we was talking about. It comes out next year, and then we have the next gen experiences in 2020, which is supposedly tied to the next revision of Windows, an actual revision of Windows, sort of a new operating system. So. And that's the best indication that we have that's coming.
It's just a bummer because I mean the Studio is just, and again I'm serious. That screen, if you ain't ever seen it, you got to see that panel. It's just beautiful. But
that's right.
It's just hard to like a quad core with a 1080 part in 3 years is not going to be fun.
1070.
Nope. Yeah.
Oh, 1070. God,
yes, I know.
1070 versus a 980M2. Yeah, it's decently faster, but.
So you want to talk about headphones briefly?
Oh yeah. What's up with the?
All right. So, anyways, the fourth product, sort of the surprise, was the Surface headphones, and the whole theme of the Surface launch was the fact that, and I got to say, I mean, you look at Steve Jobs, Panos Panay is sort of cut from the same cloth. He is very enthusiastic. He's very passionate, very eloquent. I love the fact that he actually includes his kids in these presentations, and you get to see the sort of them grow up, and he really understands the sort of the emotional appeal of the Surface hardware. And so the headphones sort of tie into that with, he made the point that when you're working, when you're truly working, sort of everything else sort of fades away, including the technology. And so the headphones are designed to do that because they're noise canceling headphones. And they're about $329, which is about the same as, say, the Sony headphones or the Bose Quiet Comforts, sort of in that same vein. And they're nice. I mean, they're silvery. They're nice. They're cups just like these, but they've got 2 dials. One on the left dials up and down the echo cancellation. It's got passive echo cancellation and an active cancellation. And I'm not sure exactly how many incremental levels. I want to say a dozen, but I think I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong on that. The right handles volume. This is where we find USB-C for charging. It's about 15 hours of battery life, a couple of hours to, an hour and a half, I think, to charge it fully. It has, naturally, Cortana in it. So you can, you can go, hey, Cortana, play me my Spotify playlist, and it'll come right over the headphones.
Yeah, Drew just mentioned this in the YouTube chat, is that it's not giving up on Cortana if they're actually going to embed it in these headphones.
That's right, exactly, yeah. I didn't actually get a chance to try it out with music. I did try the echo cancellation. You know, you always talk about like you know, crowded demo rooms being bad places to demo things, but that was the perfect place to
Yep,
demo
that's perfect.
you know, echo cancellation or noise cancellation. And it worked great. I mean, the only problem that I had with it is you couldn't dial down the noise cancellation to 0. It was always a little bit there, so you had this alien sounding, you know, sort of.
Oh, that's
noise.
Weird.
Yeah,
Huh.
when you're talking to somebody, it was always there. But otherwise, yeah, it worked great. I mean, you know, the whole, you know, you'd be, you know, talking or something like that, and all the background noise would sort of vanish, and then there'd be like someone you're talking to there, and that noise would come in fairly clearly. So yeah, I personally don't know a whole lot about noise cancellation headphones. Adam, you had said you had just, you know, used them some yourself. So from my standpoint, they were excellent. I'm not sure if they're better than the other ones on the market, just because I haven't tried the other ones.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
You said they're silvery.
Yes.
They were promoting everything else being black.
I
You get them in
know.
black?
Jason Cross pointed that out. That's the one you want in black, doesn't
That's
it? Yeah,
funny.
Yeah. It's like
So it doesn't come in black?
doesn't come in black.
What?
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah.
Also, did they partner with somebody like AKG
I
or
would suspect
Sennheiser?
they did, but I don't know. I didn't have a chance to ask that question.
That feels really
Without that-
weird to not like mention like, oh, we partnered with a really high end audio company. You know,
They had this you know, expanded, exploded view of all the components. So my thought was they actually designed it themselves, but yeah, it would make more sense.
Well,
if
they probably
partnered with
designed it, but I mean, they're probably not actually.
There's a lot of IP, right?
Dude,
But, you know,
yeah.
but if you think about it, premium companies like Apple, they just outsource a lot of stuff, and then they say, "Well, who made it? Oh,
Right.
we did."
True,
And it's
true.
just AKG or whoever. And
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
they, you know, that's why
Well, they
there's
got
no
Beats
Core
now.
i7
What are you talking about? They
sticker
got
on
Beats.
lots. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just don't.
I'd be
they don't want the
nervous
branding.
about buying a first gen Surface headphone
Uh-huh.
for $330 myself, just
that is
because
high.
with the Surface line, I think Microsoft has proven that they eventually get to a great place with all their hardware, but the first iteration usually tends to get some bugs and in rough spots.
I don't know. Who are you?
It
Consumer
was like that with
Reports?
the Surface Pro. It was like that with the Surface Book was having issues.
Totally agree.
Well,
Yeah.
I gotta say, yeah, I was telling Mark before the show that I just put up a review on TechHive that I'm gonna link to the chat right now of what we're dubbing the best noise cancellation headphones that you can buy right now, which are the Sony WH-1000 XM3. And yeah, it one of the great features I love in it is the how much inside the app you can dial how much ambient noise you put in, but to have it actually available on the ear cup itself like would be really awesome. So
yeah, there is going to be a revised Cortana app for the phone that's going to have some controls with it, but I don't know if it's any better than say what Sony offers.
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm very interested to hear is like how the Cortana integration works. So you're saying it's built into the headphones, so
Yep.
that means it's for use with PC only.
Well, it connects to your phone, so it's designed more for. Well, I mean, I take that back.
Cortana's on phones too.
Yeah, Cortana's on phones. I'm not sure if it's directly designed to work with phones or PCs. Probably both. But yeah, it's definitely Cortana's there. I didn't have a chance to actually. Cortana didn't work with it when I tried saying, "Hey, Cortana," and either it didn't recognize me with the ambient noise or it just didn't have the integration. But supposedly it's there.
Huh. I'm just because I don't know anybody who runs Cortana on a phone.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the thing is, from that standpoint, is I don't do a whole lot of interaction with Cortana orally when I'm at a work environment because I don't want to have people tell you, your hemorrhoids are quite minus F4, that type of thing. But, if I had it, maybe I'd use it a little bit more if Cortana is just piping that information directly into my headphones as opposed to broadcasting it publicly. So,
Yeah, what I can really see it for is system level control, which is where Cortana can really work with Microsoft products. So you can say, hey, Cortana, turn the volume or mute the volume.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Cortana,
that's true. Yep.
do a restart, quit out of Skype.
There is a mute mic button too, in case you don't want Cortana to hear anything. So
Yeah. I'm just trying to, I'm not really
They're
sure.
always listening.
that's right.
I just hate those features.
It seems so dystopian. It has a special mute mic button. So in case
Shut
you
up,
don't want
Cortana.
AI to
Shut
hear.
up.
Well, to me, it's just more of this issue like, hey, it sounds like it's an awesome set of noise canceling headphones, but you got the Bixby feature, which is like you immediately turn how do I turn off Bixby and
Bixby.
Cortana,
Oh, my
right? Okay, Bixby, Cortana, stand in this room. and you lock it, and like just stay there forever, right? And it just
So Drew from the YouTube chat says he has Cortana on his iPhone and uses it more than Siri. So,
really,
yeah,
I can believe
It's
that.
because Siri is dumb.
Siri sucks.
yeah, but Siri talks back.
Also, you know what I just realized? This is with the Microsoft Surface headphones. This is the closest that we could ever be to being Master Chief, right? We got Cortana in our head, you know, just like in Halo. So
It's true.
yeah, maybe that's a good selling point.
Could be.
You could be just like Master Chief.
And they're Bluetooth, of course, right?
Yes,
Not
that's right.
Wi-Fi direct or anything.
That's the other thing. God, I mean, Microsoft kind of dropped the ball on its spec sheet. They don't even list the fact that it has Bluetooth on their spec sheet. It's just like,
Really?
Yeah, it was just
That's
like,
weird.
I was just like, okay, which version of Bluetooth does it have? It's not even listed.
Yeah, does it have aptX HD, Bluetooth 5?
4.1.
That's bizarre. They don't say that.
It's wired and wireless, so you can plug in an audio cord if you want.
What other company does that move where they just want you to give them your credit card and not tell you crap about what you're getting? Trying to think what company would do something like that.
It's annoying. I can't believe that you just dropped the ball on something as fun
As it
as
was,
that.
I ran into the same issue with the Razer Sila yesterday, their new router. I went to their site, I was writing it up. I went to go check out the tech specs, click the tech specs. You go down there and it's like, oh yeah, game's great over Wi-Fi. Yeah, your games will be faster. I'm like, the 4 bullet points that they had, there was not a single actual specification there.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got to remember the nerds. The nerds
Yes.
want to see the specs.
Yep. Well, at least,
Show me the money.
all those journalists that got laid off, just hire one of them and put them in the.
But I do think that it's just part of they want to build. They want to genericize parts. It's about them. It's not about the subcontractor vendors are putting into all their parts that they're building them out of.
Right.
So it just makes them
Shade.
seem better, right? Okay. Well, that's exciting.
Windows 10.
Yeah, actually, I do want to talk about Windows 10. We
Windows
should have talked about
10.
Surface 6 last, Surface Studio first, because that's that negative in the headphones.
It makes me, just to close it up, the whole back in black emphasis makes me wonder if they did that just because otherwise there wasn't anything stand out to hype or talk
Could be.
about these.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's an incremental update. Doesn't sound anywhere near as good as back in black.
You know, I guess as a journalist, a tech journalist, we're supposed to get excited about such things. But when I just see all the reporting about, it's been black, it's just like, I just get exhausted.
Well, it just tells you there's nerds, what nerds care about, and there's what the regular civilians care about.
Don't
Like
get
the
me
new
wrong. If you care about that, that's fine.
new
But
Alienware
to me-
M15 comes in this beautiful red, which
Yeah.
they initially said was only for China.
Yeah.
They said today it's everybody. But I will tell you, people would be like, "Oh my god, I can't get the red." Don't you care about how thick it is or what graphics card? No, I only care about the color.
Yeah,
Right. I don't care about your Bluetooth specs.
exactly.
All right. Windows update.
Windows Update or Windows 10?
It's here.
Oh, yeah.
Windows 10 October 2018 update.
So is it actually here now?
Ooh, their names are getting bad. Yeah,
I
it's
know.
here.
Well, so the official name is
Yep.
Windows.
Windows 10 October 2018 update.
Woohoo.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I know,
Are
it's
you
poetic.
jazzed for it?
It's poetic. Yeah.
I'm not jazzed for the name. What's the cool code name for it? Because that's what I like. the
Oh,
code
it
name.
was just Redstone 5. Now we're moving on to
All right, that's cool.
19H1. Which
RS5.
Yep. So
What I wish is they would actually name the ISOs that would match the actual one that you want. Because I have oftentimes downloaded the wrong ISO because I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah, right. That makes sense.
Fall Creator Update 3 is not the same as Redstone 1.
Yep.
So
Exactly. So, let's see. How do we
excited, Mark?
It's been a long.
Mark is on 5 hours of sleep,
It's
folks.
been a long
East
few couple
Coast
days.
time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as the name suggests, it's just more of sort of a collection of different features rather than any sort of unifying theme. I mean, we had the Fall Creators Update and the Spring Creators Update and so forth. And so, one of the things that we actually have a review up on PCWorld.com, and what I did for this time around was to talk about the features in sort of the main review, and then talk about sort of the day-to-day conveniences in the next, in a separate story, because I think that there aren't as many features in this particular release as there have been in past releases, and so some of the more important things are things that you would use on a regular basis. Like search, for example. The search window is expanded and gotten a little bit better. So what are they destroying the world? out there?
There's construction going on,
sorry.
folks, for all the noise.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid is we're
Sorry,
going to
guys.
open that door and there's going to be a brick wall, right? And then that black, with the black windows behind Adam that are blacked out, there's going to be bricks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then we're going to have to eat each other to survive. Have to beat somebody to death and then eat their bodies.
Well, actually, Brad's good.
Yeah, Brad's
He's fine. Yeah.
We'll just go ahead and use Brad as our conduit
Yeah.
to the outside world.
He'll just watch.
Yeah.
He'll be forced to watch.
So, anyways, I mean, there's a few things that I think are worth talking about, and the one thing that you can go ahead and just jump on me right now, I think Edge is there. I think Microsoft Edge has finally arrived as a day-to-day browser. I've been impressed with the way it's evolved over time, and I think that I've used it both on a regular basis as well as just, as a day-to-day browser, and it's not really painful to use anymore. So you can go ahead and that's it. Hit me with it. Hit me
He's
with
just bracing himself. So if you're just listening to this, Mark has actually got his arms in front of his face in a defensive crouch, like as though oh, I got in a fight in the subway. He's like ready to get beat on for liking Edge as much as Chrome.
Here's my issue with that.
Sure, go ahead.
I just updated to the October update this morning or last night.
Yep.
And I use Chrome. I've been using.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To me, Edge lost its chance with me because I tried it the first couple of big updates that it came out, and it just wasn't there. For me to switch from Chrome or Firefox or Vivaldi or whatever to Edge at this point, it's going to require some sort of awesome feature to try to get me to try it again.
Yep.
Is there anything like that in there, or are they just shored up the details?
Not really. If you care about things like, making sure that websites don't autoplay video, things like that, that's really if you're looking at a new feature for Edge, it's sort of what it boils down to. I mean, things like, highlighting a word in reading mode and getting a definition of it obviously isn't going to move the needle. So this has always been my case. I will load up a tab with CNN or CNET or the Chronicles site, sfgate.com. And for years and years and years, those have been really painful and very slow and very chunky as far as the responsiveness is concerned. And now things move very quickly, even without ad blocking software and so forth. So from that standpoint, like if I have a computer that has Edge on by default, I'm cool with it. Again, Chrome makes it so damn easy to go ahead and put Chrome on a new machine and get your passwords and get your bookmark bar, and everything just pops up just like that. Edge isn't there yet, and that's where it's weak. But if you play around with it for a little bit, it's I think it's worth being in the conversation.
Before it was basically unusable for me unless you're sticking to very basic stuff. So it sounds like it's usable at least now, which is great.
I agree. Yep.
It's crazy that it took 3 years.
Yep, totally great.
For me though, I actually think Edge is it's a better performing browser, and but my issue is that I don't understand what the icons mean. They still are going with these hieroglyphics. Like I don't I just like the most basic thing in Firefox, in Safari, in Chrome. Which is like, where are your downloads? I can't find where my downloads are in this thing.
Well, that's actually
browser, right?
That's actually an interesting point, because if you go to, if you know where to look for in the downloads section of Edge, it actually will now give you a little shortcut to your downloads folder, so it's a little bit easier to find.
How hard is it to add that feature? That's like a basic usability thing. Like,
here we go.
Front door to house. Yeah. Well, we got the window, we got the fridge, all this stuff is great. What about exit to? Yeah, we ain't working on that. It's like that's the first thing you put in is like download folder. But now I'm going to say this, Mark. Sure. I'm doing some testing with. We're going to do a video on this. Eventually, you'll see it. But ARM versus Core. I got to say, and I was kind of blown away. But Edge performance in ARM.
Yeah, I know.
It is very impressive. It is actually 1-to-1. It's much faster than Core, and I'm kind of like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, optimization's there, I think.
That's
blown
interesting.
Yep.
Fire up Chrome, though, and it ain't no fun. It's like a reversal. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
But in Edge, it's just like, whoa. Edge is just on the A45, too. We're talking about a phone SoC. It's performing really well. So, I don't know.
So, let me just run down a couple of the other little features, too, and we can talk about them. I think that one of the cooler things for me, and I know, Brad, you talked about sort of cut and paste being a little bit wonky sometimes, but the cloud clipboard feature is kind of cool. If you have more than one PC, you can essentially, I mean, you know how to cut and paste within Windows. If you
Theoretically.
Theoretically. If you have more than one PC, you can actually Control-C on one PC. Assuming you're signed in, they're connected to the internet, you can Control-C or Control-X on one PC and Control-V on another PC. And
I am all about that.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, the only
wild.
sad thing about it is 4 megabyte limitation, which sort of limits you to small images and basically text snippets. I've done stuff with the manufacturer that has really done it well is Logitech. They've got this utility that allows you to essentially take one thing, just basically cut and paste whatever you want, as long as you have a Logitech mouse or a keyboard, and this has to be a certain version, certain model of it. You can cut and paste anything you want from one PC to the next, and that's fantastic. And then there's a couple of other little utilities out there as well. But I think that's kind of it's a nice little, it's a dumb little thing, but it's one of those things that, God, how many times do we cut and paste during the course of a day? And just, it's great.
And between computers too.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the idea of it.
Yep.
Like you were alluding to, my issue is that ever since Windows 10 came out, cut and paste has not worked reliably for me. Like, I'll press Control-C or I'll do cut, and it'll work 80% of the time.
Really?
But 20% of the time it won't. And that's across multiple installs, multiple PCs. It's not an issue with me. It's an issue with Windows 10. And I'm still going to use it. It's not like you can't use cut and paste. But I hope they manage to finally fix that since they're adding in more features.
Is it just not cutting, or is it the...
It doesn't cut. It doesn't copy. You just got to re-highlight it and do it again.
To be honest with you, I've never heard that before. So.
That's interesting. Yeah. My problem is with the
known issue.
screenshot thing.
I know like Brad Sams and stuff has complained about it before.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah, my issue is the screen cap. Like the problem is everybody wants to own screen capping now, so you don't even know where it ends up. Sometimes it goes to Live, sometimes it goes to Dropbox.
Yeah. Right. There's actually a new screen capping tool within the October update. Well, they're not. Really? It's not a new one. They're getting rid of the screen snipping tool and replacing with was it Snip and Share? I can never remember the name.
But Snip and Sketch.
Snip and Sketch.
I was just playing with it today.
The screen sketch is great. I use it all the time.
Yeah,
I use the snipping tool all the time.
Yeah. So there's that. The one thing that they're trying to make sort of, I mean, first of all, so in previous iterations, there's been sort of like we went through this 3D phase, right, where we had mixed reality and Paint 3D and so forth, and like now it's phone PC integration. So one of the key apps and it's actually probably going to put a shortcut on your screen is Your Phone. I swear they went with My Phone, but now it's Your Phone. And so Your Phone, what it does is it takes
whose phone? Who's on first?
Whose phone? Exactly.
On this PC? Exactly. No, my PC.
Yeah. So if I take a picture with my phone, what it'll do is that the idea is that I can immediately see that photo on my PC and then copy and paste it or manipulate it or whatever it might be.
Huh.
And I can also go ahead and leave my phone in my pocket. And if somebody texts me, I can go ahead and respond to that text right within my PC. And then send text, receive text, interact with that, and so forth. And in the future, they're going to go ahead and the next thing they're going to do with Your Phone is go ahead and actually run apps, like Android apps, from that particular Your Phone application on Windows 2. Now, it won't actually be like a virtualized environment. That was my first question. But it's going to be essentially RDP. So you're going to actually have like a mirrored
so screen painting.
Yeah, screen painting. So going to be essentially your screen's going to be mirrored on your PC. So I mean, my sort of problem with this is that the photos, if you already have your Photos app configured so that it's connected to OneDrive, you already see that. I mean, if you take a picture with your phone and it uploads it to OneDrive, you're going to immediately see that within the Photos app. And then you can also sort of send and receive text via Cortana. But what it does is, so I mean, from that standpoint, it's redundant. On the flip side, if you look at it as, say, a different modality, like, interacting with your PC with speech or touch, this is just a nice, simplified version of pulling all that functionality and putting it into one place. So I've kind of... There's sort of a glass half full, glass half empty.
So, but it requires you to install it on an Android app, then.
It does, yeah, and that's that's the other thing. So Microsoft has now all of a sudden decided it's going to embrace the phone with, besides, not Windows Phone, but Android and iOS.
Surface Phone.
So in the grand tradition of Microsoft, it's now gives you now wants you to put 5 billion apps in your phone. So there's before there was the Cortana app, and there was this weird thing called Microsoft Apps, which was sort of a shortcut to other apps. And now there's Your Phone Companion, which is actually the interaction. This is what enables your phone. And in the future, they already have Microsoft Launcher. And in the future, Microsoft Launcher is going to have a little bit more robust interaction with your phone, too. I just want one damn app for my phone that connects with my PC and have done with it. And there's Bing and there's Edge, and it's just
OneDrive.
Yeah,
that's why I don't use Facebook Messenger anymore. They're like, we're splitting this out from the app, even though it didn't used to be. I'm like, well, looks like I'm not using that anymore.
Yeah, just give me one damn app. And
yeah,
I think that's interesting too. Is all this functionality is mostly for Android. It's a lot more dumbed down on iOS.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because of Apple, not because of Microsoft.
It's just too locked down, right? iOS is just too locked down.
Makes sense.
I mean, Apple will say, we don't like this. It competes with what we do, so go after yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Android's a little opener. But what I'm wondering, though, we're gonna embrace the war that we're already having in Windows. When you start up Chrome and it says, Windows tells you, oh, don't you want to use Edge? You start Edge, and then you go to Google and says, oh, don't you want to use Chrome? But your phone's going to say the same thing. It's like, gosh,
that's true.
Your Android phone would be a lot better if you had a Cortana on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing ads, there's been the problem of sort of ads. I mean, settings seems to have that, at least have one sort of ad for a feature down on the bottom of the screen, sort of the right-hand corner of the screen. I guess that's just, it's one of those things that I talk about with Microsoft executives when I see them at places. I mean, I totally get that they want to go ahead and put these new features in front of the user. I really think that's a good thing. On the flip side, I totally understand people who are just like, get that crap out of my face. I mean,
that's how I am.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's two sides of the coin.
Show me at once, when you install the October update.
No, absolutely.
Pop it up and say, hey, check this out. But when I go to install Chrome, don't do that.
Yeah, Office 365 does that. When you have new features, it gives you a pop-up, and that's it. And that's what Windows should do. And it doesn't do that. It gives you this weird sort of tips app you'll never look at again. And just give me the new features and get out of my way.
But everybody's gotten increasingly desperate, though, because I've run Norton for many years, and it used to be you'd never get advertising, and now you get hey, why don't you do this? Have you heard of this feature? Oh my God, you might have been they might be selling your body on the internet. You better check right now. What? Yeah. I thought you were just going to scan the executable. But everybody has to do it now, and I think everybody's just kind of desperate for everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Ada in the YouTube chat says that they still fear Microsoft may introduce a paywall onto new features or onto some security updates. And they think that as soon as the install base is big enough, they'll do it. What do you think?
I mean, they always have.
Install base is already big
Pro
enough.
and Home, right?
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
They don't really make a big push for Pro, though.
Well, yeah. But I think, to be fair, look, everybody likes to beat up on Microsoft. It's fun. Everybody can laugh at it. But you know what? You can take a Pentium 4, install Windows 10. You will get every single update, every single security update for a computer that was made 15 years ago, right? 18 years ago.
Yep.
Good luck doing that on Apple, who just tells you buy a new one. Good luck on your Nexus 6P. It's oh, you want the new ass? Go F yourself. Go buy a new one. Microsoft gives you all these security updates all the time for ancient hardware. They support all the stuff. They would love to dump you overboard, but they don't, right? So give them credit for giving you all this stuff. So I understand why people get paranoid, but you got to give them credit, too. They've been doing it forever.
To play to that paranoia, though, I could foresee a future. I think I've discussed this before along in the past, where traditional desktop modes are a paid-for extra feature. That's the enthusiast or gamer edition or whatever. If you want to run Steam and whatnot, traditional desktop apps, you pay extra. I can see that.
I don't know if I'd see that in consumer, but I think they're really heading towards that with the Microsoft 365 sort of business stuff, because it's all sort of Windows plus Office 365 plus this mobile management stuff. And I kind of think that they're going to hit those corporate customers for licensing fees and everything they can, and the consumers might not get that. I think, there's always that possibility that we're going to see sort of that all access where everything's sort of Xbox and Office is all rolled together. We didn't talk about it, but there's actually sort of a leasing program for where they call it Microsoft Surface All Access, where you pay a monthly fee for, say, a Surface Book 2 or a Surface Studio or something of that sort. So, again, I think geared more towards business customers, but if you want, I suppose you can lease your hardware as well.
Yeah, they just did that with Xbox too, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But again, I we've been getting all the updates, every security update for free for a long time. So I do understand everybody's, but I don't like the double standard. I mean, I like making fun of Microsoft, but I don't like the double standards that people apply to Microsoft. They don't apply to Google. They don't apply to Apple and everybody else. That just continually screws you on hardware every generation. You don't get screwed on hardware with, Microsoft or OSs. So I wonder if that's just because Microsoft it's more democratic. The PC is more democratic, and they would love to just push off legacy support for everything, but everybody's like, no, we got to do this. They sort of hear what everybody says, and they factor that in their plans. We know other companies would just say, jump into the ocean and drown.
Well, I mean, the democracy aspect is one of the more problematic issues, I think, with technology in general, because Microsoft is totally open to suggestions and feedback. I mean, they encourage it, and that's a great thing, and then that's not a great thing, because everybody has their own opinion about where Microsoft should where it should go and what it should do, and they seem to try to incorporate all of this stuff. I mean, the Feedback Hub has if you want to make a suggestion, the Feedback Hub is there within Windows 10. They'll look at it, they'll respond to you if there's enough sort of momentum behind it. But then you everybody sort of pulled in different directions. I mean, Apple of course has the benevolent dictatorship where they say this is our vision and you shall adhere to it, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but they have a cohesive vision, and that's it. With Microsoft, you sometimes feel they're being pulled in all directions at once.
There's nothing benevolent about it. I mean, there are dual Xeons. We've got piles of them that you can install the latest version of Mac OS on.
True.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's just absolutely insane. I'm not talking like Core 2. I'm talking like Core, Nehalem class hardware. You can't get the latest OS.
Yeah.
That's just fundamentally wrong, and everybody just gives Apple and they give Google a pass for, hey, I can tell you this phone's going to get screwed on a new security update in a few months.
Yeah.
You can run a Core 2 and you can get all the security updates. So
and John Malkovich in the chat would very much.
Malkovich.
Yeah, I know, right? He's here.
Yeah.
He would
made it.
would like to point out that you gotta include Linux in there when you're talking about that too.
That's true too. I just haven't figured out how to install it. I'm just kidding.
But yeah,
that's what I think
just
the pushback is. It's against people. People want the legacy desktop support, and with Windows 8 and initially with Windows 10, Microsoft was trying to go hard away from that to the more of the mobile experience, where it is more locked down, it is more restrictive. And I think that's where a lot of the pushback came from. Microsoft does deserve props because they have been pulling back away from that more and giving people more what they want out of their PCs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But is there any more features? Because I got something I want to talk about.
There's tons of them.
And Brad's got his feature he wants to talk
that's
about.
fine. I mean, I should say, first of all, that please... I've spent a lot of time on this, so I'm just begging you. Go ahead and check out a review on PCWorld.com, as well as the conveniences. There's a lot there. I've tried to put everything through its paces. Some things work, some things don't. There's things that aren't there that they promised would be. One of the things that's probably the most disappointing that's actually not there was this update. I think it's not there. This sort of this update AI feature, which was, basically like, everybody's seen the videos and everybody's sometimes even had it happen themselves, where there's an unexpected Windows update and everybody freaks out because you're gaming or it's during the presentation or something of that sort. The idea was that this release would actually have some sort of AI in it, which would smartly, intelligently understand when you're using your PC and not update it when you went to the bathroom or got a cup of coffee. I have not been able to ascertain whether this thing is in it or not, because there's no specific feature or setting that sort of turns it on or turns it off. So my guess is that no, it's not, which is annoying as all hell. But again, that's what happens when you're sort of dealing with this stuff, because Microsoft sort of promises all this stuff in the insider builds and then quietly cuts it, and you have to go through and see, okay, does the promises match what's actually in the operating system? And then it gets kind of frustrating because you're like 2 in the morning and you're rewriting your review because it's not there. And
it'd be nice if they sent, or
yeah, what's that?
It would be nice if they published something and said, okay, insiders, just so you know, these 6 features that you've been testing weren't able to make the cut.
They do kind of have that in the sort of the change logs, but you sort of have to wade through it all, and just like it's just it's a little bit frustrating from some standpoint. Behavior changes for certain features. I mean, don't get me wrong, the visibility they have is fantastic. I love the Insider program. It is absolutely great. But, from a testing standpoint, it's a little bit, it gets a little bit, it's difficult to do sometimes. So. But yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, I can just give you a lightning round. There's Storage Sense. Storage Sense is upgraded with OneDrive. So if you have files on your PC that you haven't upgraded or haven't done anything with for, say, 30 days, it'll kick them into OneDrive if you connect it. This is optional. I think it's a great feature. However, if you have, say, like a Steam library where you've downloaded stuff and all of a sudden kicks your Steam library to the cloud and you have to re-download it, then all of a sudden I'm going to be kind of upset with that. So
and
hopefully that's not going to happen.
OneDrive space isn't free either, so be careful with it.
Yep.
They do have granular controls. I was digging through that myself this morning. I like it a lot.
Yeah, so what else we got here? Search box is bigger. If you don't want to open a Bing, like a website to search Bing, because everybody searches Bing, right? It does it right within Windows. Focus Assist turns on automatically while gaming, which is nice. Focus Assist basically kills notifications if you're at a full screen game. Focus Assist will now turn on automatically and just prevent things like email and so forth.
Sure, I believe that feature works.
I love it if it works because those notifications can break a lot of games.
Yep, exactly. Brad's favorite is dark mode in File Explorer.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Task Manager has per app power usage, which sounds better than it is, because basically everything says it's very low. It would be nice if we gave you component level power draw from your monitor, your display, your CPU, and so forth. We're not here yet. I'm hoping it comes. What else we got here? Let's see. That's conveniences. Go back to features.
While he's looking, by the way, definitely go to PCWorld.com and look up Mark's review and his conveniences article that I believe he's referring to right now, because I downloaded the October update this morning. They don't do a very good job of explaining what's new. Working with Mark's articles, it was great.
And Adam will put hopefully a link in the show notes.
Already done.
Yeah. Right. Just a couple more things, actually. Microsoft Font Maker, it's fun, it's gimmicky. If you want to make a font out of your handwriting, you can do it. It takes about 3 minutes. I think it's something that my dad might like to use for things like invitations.
Do they have to be alphanumerical resembling, or will they take any images?
You can write
could I make like a Wingdings out of meme?
If you write it in yourself, you can. If you want to cut and paste like a picture, then I don't think there's any possibility of doing
that.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. That's fine. Go ahead. Skype is updated to the new UI. I'm sorry, Skype team. I don't like Skype's new UI. I like Skype for Business. I want it as straightforward as possible. But if you like things like reactions to comments and things like that, it's there. There's 5 billion versions of Skype. I'm sorry. I just think Skype's a mess, and I really apologize to the Microsoft and the Skype team.
I wouldn't apologize to them. I would apologize.
Oh no!
No! Brad, come on!
Oh, look at that!
Don't
Brad
do that.
Put the crying emoji on the screen for audio listeners.
That's.
I thought it was just
we can end the show now. It's
absolutely
done.
Nailed it.
I know. I almost freaked out. I was like, oh no.
That is perfect.
That's funny.
Yep. So, I mean, there's a couple things that are more and so forth, but I mean, that's pretty much it.
DirectX.
There's something super important in it that you can't see whatsoever right now.
Yes.
And that is the DirectX ray tracing API.
Is it in there? Because I have never been able to confirm it.
Microsoft never said it.
No, they didn't.
NVIDIA wound up confirming it directly. And the DirectX 12, if you go into their developer blogs, wound up developing correctly. So now everything is in place. We have hardware. We have software at the OS level.
We should add.
We're just waiting for games at this point.
We should add that to the review. Yeah, that's good.
Does it show up in DXDiag or just?
I just downloaded this morning. I haven't gone into the DXDiag yet, but it's in there. Cool. Everyone says it's in there.
Sweet.
Wow. So we're ready for ray tracing games. Everybody's going to have them, Brad, right?
They're all here.
Can you imagine if it
Curious to see when they happen, because the 2070 launches on the 17th, I believe it said. And I'm very curious to see if anybody pushes game updates before that, because that would be a huge help for reviews, but a huge help for NVIDIA if it doesn't wind up being impressive, but it's not reviewable before the launch of the 2070.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be another
It's still a question mark.
But at least it's there. I mean, all the pieces are kind of falling into place. Drivers, you got hardware, you got
And
you got the actual DX version.
Mr. Roboto on YouTube says that they don't want to live another moment of life without being ray traced.
I don't want it either.
Yeah, so
It's like that Aerosmith song.
yeah,
What?
don't want to miss a thing.
I want to miss a
okay.
thing without ray tracing.
He's like, yeah, Aerosmith, you know, the song about ray tracing in video games.
They used it in Armageddon.
RTX.
Good movie, underrated. Actually,
Ahead of its time.
horrible movie.
Just to kind of follow up all of the awesome stuff that Mark just said, the October update is going to start automatically getting pushed out to PCs on the 9th, so Tuesday, I believe it is. You can go get it now. I got it. I just went into my settings, Windows Update, check for updates, got it. There's also a manual download tool. We have an article about how to do all that. You might want to wait a few days because today is the first day that people are really going out there and getting it. And we're not sure what percentage of users it is, but there are a lot of reports on Reddit and Windows forums today about data mysteriously disappearing.
There was some issue with Windows. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So back up your data, which is something I say repeatedly in my how to upgrade. Whenever you do an OS upgrade, reinstall anything, make sure your data's backed
Back
up.
it up, back
Wait,
again.
what? You mean like your actual data just vanishing, being paved over by the OS?
Yeah, like their documents and music folders are empty now.
Ooh,
Oh
Whoa.
my god!
yikes.
What?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be
Yeah.
good.
No,
Well-
it's not. It didn't happen to me. We don't know how widespread it is, but there are several reports of it in different places. And I'm having issues. I'm not sure if it's because of Windows 10 itself or because of the new NVIDIA driver for Windows 10 October update. But between the two of them, I'm having some pretty bad display issues in Chrome specifically. Where if I'm typing in a URL bar or on certain websites like Twitter, our own CMS, if I use the scroll wheel, it'll make any video that I'm playing lag. Or
Yeah, actually,
Sounds like you need Edge.
I've been in a hotel and on a plane, so I actually have no machines that actually have it right now. I use the Surface Pro 2017 as my test bed, and I didn't have any problems with it, but obviously it's simply a Microsoft product.
What do you do though? I mean, I can deal with some weird video bug or typing lag in Chrome, but you actually having it wipe your data?
Yeah.
And
I don't know
Back
about
up.
the problem,
Always
well,
back up.
Yep.
well, the problem is this doesn't. The average person doesn't back up, and then two, it's not like you can stop Windows Update. Windows Update is like you go to your fridge, you open
if you
up the
have
door,
Pro, you
Windows
can-
Update
you can
pops
defer,
out.
You can defer it with Pro, but yeah. You
Yeah, what?
can
I
defer it with
believe-
Pro for 30 days. Oh, no, feature updates you can defer for a year, actually. Yeah.
Wait, but I mean, you know, it's one of those things where they
for what
really.
it's worth, the ones where they were losing data, it looks like, I'm not sure if it was all of them, but a lot of them were using the manual download update tool from the Microsoft website.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just
Don't manually download.
Question Mr. Roboto is asking, how big is the update? Like, how big is the file? Do you remember?
That's a great question. I don't know, and part of it is because they've gone to an incremental update. I think this is this. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure we've gone to an incremental update where you should see just the files that you need to see. I would say probably on the order of 2 to 4 gigs. That's just a guess. I don't know offhand.
Okay.
Yeah.
it didn't take me long to download it over Comcast Home
No,
Internet.
they've gotten really fast with those upgrades.
That's good.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not that big of a deal then. They probably just rolled the manual updater.
The other thing that somebody
incorrectly.
flagged me about on Twitter was if there's some issues with if your Windows Intel audio drivers aren't updated. The upgrade won't go through. So just make sure everything is updated. One of the things that you can check on the Windows Update settings screen is to upgrade or update other hardware when you update Windows. I don't see why you shouldn't have that checked by default. So I think standard rules apply. Back up and make sure everything is up to date before you actually upgrade. So.
Nice.
One thing I want to give Microsoft props for before we stop this conversation is every other milestone Windows update that I've ever installed has managed to reactivate those stupid little bullcrap, turn off ad features that there's 15 different ones for spread across Windows because they don't want you turning them off. This one did not. This one upgraded for the first time since Windows 10 came out. It upgraded and left all my previous options there in place, so I'm very happy about it.
That's cool.
Hopefully that's the default in the future.
Yeah, seriously.
And not just a bug for this version.
A bug.
Do we is that the last we want to talk about Windows Update? We got any?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and you can go ahead and check out the review and the conveniences story if you want
Yes,
any more.
please do. Please do. It's got all the stuff.
I linked to it in the chat. Also, I'm sorry, I can't remember who said this earlier because it's been a bit, but somebody was saying that it's not construction next door that's making all that noise. It's actually Elena following the Verge's PC build guide, trying to build a PC. So, yeah, good times. Let's. Do we want to move on to the Q&A?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So we got a couple questions already lined up, but if you have a question, anything, ask these guys anything, then link it in the chat and please tag me at PC World. So Ada on YouTube was asking when all of you think we'll see 8-core Ryzen mobile parts.
There are true mobile parts. God, I don't know. I mean, I would think it would probably push into the next year with the new process. I don't think you're going to see it on current parts. So mobile, no, not true. They do have mobile parts that are just desktop parts, but no really true 8-core Ryzen's that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
You can get desktop Ryzen 7 and some laptops, some big laptops.
Do we need an 8-core Ryzen part? Mobile Ryzen?
Yeah, because you can't get no Intel one. So, well, I'm just the shortage thing. It'll be nice. I mean, I would think.
I mean, they're nice to have.
I would feel they would take the new process, 7 nanometer, to get to 8 cores where it doesn't drain the battery in 10 minutes.
Yep.
We got some other ones piling in. Sorry. They followed up with a question also later that if you think the Core Wars will be ending soon or escalating when the Ryzen 2 3000 series comes out next year.
It'll only get better.
Yeah.
It's just going to...
Competition's good.
More cores are going to keep coming?
Yep. More cores, faster cores, cheaper cores.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. Also, we posted the coverage of the new Alienware M15, which is their new slim design. We had a video up on YouTube earlier as well. Go check that out. And Tejas Manake is saying, no offense, but the new Alienware is not comparable to the other slim gaming laptops. It's slim, but not stealthy.
I would actually have to see the new unit next to other, thin, like the GS65 or something. But it's for an Alienware, they're usually sort of built like Soviet era tanks, which is good for a gaming laptop because bigger means faster generally. These are pretty thin. I don't know if it's quite as thin as some laptops, but there's a reason why some laptops are 4 pounds, and like the GS65, which I love, 4 pounds, but it really is a little flexible. So you're not going to get the same flex with a bigger laptop. So,
all right. And then Robert on YouTube is saying that they want to give Gordon props for the article comparing the i9 9900K with the Ryzen 2800X. Why don't you tell people what it is, and I will link to them.
Basically, we have amazingly ahead of time, before there is any confirmation of a Core i9 9900K or a Ryzen 7 2800X. I have full performance benchmarks. It's on PCWorld.com. Go to PC World and you can read about all the full performance benchmarks of those parts. And I got to say, you'll be surprised by which chip is faster. So.
Oh no! Come on, Brad. Come on. Stop it.
Seeing a lot of those in the future.
I keep freaking out, like, oh no, Skype crashed. But no, Brad.
This is what killed the dinosaurs.
I just linked. It's a fun article.
You know that the version of Skype doesn't have any support for GIFs that I can see. There's like no Giphy support.
Really?
Yeah. It's like they have their own emoji.
1999.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Stupid. Go ahead.
All right, keeping on going. Robert Dyson. Oh no. Also asks, how long before we see a true brand new architecture from Intel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A long time, it feels like. I mean, everything is sort of iterative.
Yep.
Which is the way everybody does it. You don't throw everything away and start over again. So I can't see it ever coming. I think it sort of feels like once Moore's Law is really dead and buried,
Yeah.
and we moved on to optical or whatever it is, then it'll be
I mean, what
different,
defines a really new architecture? I mean, they're essentially. It's essentially going to be a core chip just with optimizations designed in.
Yeah, and so I always like this because Intel always points it out whenever the media uses it incorrectly. Architecture is x86,
Right.
x86 64. Microarchitecture is Zen. It is, whatever, Coffee Lake, Kaby Lake, Tejas, NetBurst. Those are sort of like, but they are all, the overarching architecture is x86. And if we think Intel's going to be ditching x86 anytime soon,
Nope.
I wouldn't count on us still being on the air by then.
Yeah, I mean, they took an ARM license way back in the 90s or something like that. That was their push into a new architecture.
And then they sold it, right?
Yeah,
so
they
they got
sold
rid of it.
Bye-bye, strong arm.
Yeah, people there's a lot of pushes for, there's an open power, there's RISC-V, there's all kinds of different, x86 ultimately it won everything.
Yep.
And the question is, where do you go from here?
Yep.
It's under assault different ways, but I can't see, it's impossible. It's like your core. It's part of what you are.
I
right?
wouldn't say it's impossible if Qualcomm comes out and starts kicking ass in sort of battery life and so forth. Then you might say Intel get back into it. But for right now, yeah, there's no chance.
I just don't. It just feels like we've done this all over again because ARM, Intel tried to invade tablets, that went nowhere.
Right.
ARM is now trying to get into PC, and then as they ramp up performance, their battery life gets worse. Intel's battery, and it's sort of like,
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like we're just going to be locked into this war forever, and I don't see it. We all have different tools for different jobs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I can see your phone will be ARM, real computers, desktop computers, laptops will be x86 probably.
That's right.
Or what is it good for? Ben on YouTube asks, why does it take so long to use the multiple cores for Ryzen? Is it hard to adapt the cores in games and apps?
Yeah, developers.
That's a programming issue. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I didn't say it the right way. Developers. It is about developers. Intel has put a lot of work, a lot of money into trying to get developers to develop for multi-core. I mean, they've been doing this ever since hyper-threading came along, right? So they've been around for a long, long time. It's a tough nut to crack. I think it's really going to change now because developers have access to multi-core and consoles.
Yeah.
Ryzen has really made the access to 8-core chips really cheap. But it'll still take 36 to 48 months, it feels like, to ever really see any difference.
I think Brad probably might have an opinion. I mean, when you've seen the recent games, how many? Well, I mean, this is you too, I guess. But I mean, in terms of the recent blockbuster games, how many cores are actually being utilized in a CPU to process?
It's going up. It's going up. We're getting at the point now. What is it? 3 years after the DirectX 12 and Windows 10 originally launched, which is not so coincidentally about the life cycle product development time of major AAA games. We're starting to see more DirectX 12 games. We're starting to see more games that use more cores now. So I think it is coming. But I mean, these core wars are still new. They're still in a relatively small amount of systems. So,
but if you have a Core i9 running a AAA game, I don't know, pick your game, whatever it might be, how many cores are typically active when running that game?
You mean the 18 core or the
whatever? I mean, 18 core, whatever. Yeah.
Most games still optimize for higher
core?
speeds.
Yeah.
Just a couple of threads, 2 to 4 typically.
Okay.
Yeah, you're lucky if they use 4 threads, right? You're just lucky.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then like I said, it is becoming more common, but it's still like it has been for ages on PC because Intel was so dominant looking for more.
Right. I mean, that's typically what we think of, but
yeah, but when I would say like more common being like instead of 2, there's 4. So out of 1,000 games, it's going to take a long time. So quad core with hyper-threading.
We are definitely starting to see more games use more cores now that we're further along into the DirectX 12 era, though.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
We got a handful more and then we'll wrap it up. E Lopez 580. What does Gordon think of the new Creative Super X5 pre-releases the other week? I asked this because I haven't seen any news on this.
I haven't. I've been too head down on other stuff.
Oh man, because if this is true, I am very excited to see that.
I gotta go look it up now.
This is what we saw: the positional audio with a stereo headset. We saw it at CES. This technology is coming out for the mass market.
Oh damn! Look,
What's up?
SXFI. They even have a URL for it.
Really? What? Any details?
Oh wait, this might be a porn site. Hang on.
Oh boy, yeah. Don't.
Login page.
Oh yeah, they did announce it. Oh my God, we are just in a rock. How do we miss this?
Well, yeah, we gotta have him back on to talk about this because this is gonna be big. I'm excited.
Yeah, so there's actually a video we did it at CES. It's this awesome little thing that it really makes, on air headphones pretty near indistinguishable from a very expensive 7.1 setup.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. We should look into that, and we'll follow up.
Yeah.
Next up, this is great. His name is Ozymandias. So there we go. Makes it easy.
A poem.
Yeah.
I am the King of Kings.
Oh, there we go.
Works your mighty in despair. Sorry.
He says, my Windows is updating now. How can I stop it? Hopefully we caught it.
Pull the cord out.
Yeah,
pull the cord.
Yep. Sorry. No, I mean, Windows updates. I mean, if you have Windows 10 Home, you got the update's going to come. If you've got Windows 10 Pro, again, you can defer feature updates for about a year. You can defer security updates for 30 days, but the updates are inevitable. They're your vegetables, they're your vitamins. You got to take them.
And for what it's worth, the amount of issues, it's not like everybody is saying, oh my God, this just happened to me.
Right.
I didn't have this issue where they were deleting my files. I've only heard from a couple of other people who are having display issues, but I have heard. So it sounds like there's some bugs in there that are affecting low percentage points of people. If there's anything that you absolutely don't want to lose, Windows won't just update itself when it's done downloading that. It'll say, hey, we need to restart now for a big one. Do you want to snooze it or schedule a time? And then you say yes and schedule it for a long way out and go buy a flash drive and back up whatever you need to it.
That is an argument for Pro. I mean, you can always defer a feature update, say for 15 days or something of that sort, and just make sure everything, all the little bugs are taken care of. I mean, that's not a bad idea. Sort of up to you, though.
All right, a couple more. John Malkovich is asking, is Windows performance any slower now after Intel microcode fixes?
That you can feel?
Yeah,
probably not. You definitely, the one thing I developed that for me to be able to tell the difference is if you can do this, you can download, who makes that utility that you can turn off Meltdown Inspector? You can detect? Sorry,
GRC.
Yeah, so download Steve Gibson's utility, turn off the Spectre Meltdown support in the OS, and then download Cinebench, the zip, and then right mouse click, use Windows 10 to decompress that to your desktop. Do that 3 times, average it. Go back into GRC, turn on the support for Meltdown Spectre, and watch your scores go through the floor. So it is really bad.
It might be. Yeah.
And the built-in decompression app in Windows is especially bad. So, but most people probably can't tell the difference.
Okay.
In games reviews, it doesn't make a difference.
No, it's a little overblown on the performance front. It doesn't affect Cinebench, most compute loads, graphics loads. It doesn't. It really is just those those small file writes into your hard drive or SSD that kill you.
One last serious question and 2 fun ones to finish it off. Sar Oz on Facebook says, would you upgrade from the Surface Pro 4 to the 6, Mark?
Yeah, I would actually. The spec update. Okay, so first of all, if it's your own money and Surface Pro 4 is doing it for you, then obviously not. If you're looking for a spec bump, then sure, go ahead. Again, the Surface Pro 4 is essentially the same physical device as the Surface Pro 6. You're getting, obviously more power more processing power for your money, probably a little bit bump in terms of memory as storage as well. That's what it boils down to. If the Surface Pro 4 isn't doing it for you, then the Surface Pro 6 would be an upgrade. But again, it's expensive. It's essentially $1,100, and that's not at least from my wallet. That's a pretty sizable upgrade as far as money is concerned. So I can't tell you what to do. And from your standpoint, those are the considerations that I would think about, though.
And I have some advice sort of based on XPS and Spectres that I've seen. 8th gen, and I've said this and it's a little controversial for some, but 8th gen KB Lake R is worth an upgrade. 8th gen Coffee Lake H is worth an upgrade over previous generation parts,
Sure.
which is crazy because when's the last time you ever saw like, oh, you need to buy a 5th gen
Yeah.
Intel CPU over a 4th gen? 8th gen from 7th gen is a significant increase in performance.
That's true.
If you actually do multi-threaded
Yeah.
tasks because you're getting
because
two
of the
more
core
cores,
wars.
you're getting
That's
more
right.
cores.
Yeah, Microsoft's talking about 60% more performance from the Surface Pro 2017.
So,
So
yeah,
that standpoint,
pretty
sure.
good.
If you're doing encoding, if you're doing a lot of things, 3D rendering, any of these things that really use all those cores, it's a huge upgrade. Well worth it. If you're just using Office and Chrome, no, just save your money.
Yep.
All right. One fun one. Timothy on YouTube's asking, what do you think of the Gamers Nexus, Jay's 2 cents, Paul's Hardware overclocking battle? Have you
I
guys
was
been watching
thinking
that?
about getting in on that right in the early days.
Nice.
But then they started busting out coolers full of ice and a big jerry-rigged cardboard self-refrigeration unit
How many
and
2080s are they
lockout
using?
tag-out procedures.
Wow.
And I'm out. It's very it's entertaining to watch. Though.
Is it two 2080 Ti's is what they're up to
SLI.
now?
Wow.
Yeah, they're battling for the top spot in Time Spy, Readmark Time Spy,
That's-
and
that's
they're
cool.
they're currently blowing out noted overclocker Devourer.
Oh, wow.
This because the
They're
Bauer
doing
doesn't
some
have.
real crazy stuff.
Does the Bauer have two 2080 Ti's?
Yeah,
Damn. So the only way to beat this is to get a Tri-SLI 2080 system. Does it even support Tri-SLI yet?
I'm not sure if the bridges are available yet. I think they might be starting to.
Well, you got support from chat and saying that you should do it, Brad. Get in and on it.
I'm
I
trying
wanted to
think of
because
the
they were
easy
battle
way.
rapping, and I would have wiped them out like Eminem and 8 Mile. But then I saw where they're going with the actual thing, and I'm like, I got work to do.
Wait, who's winning
Throwing
now? Who's
down.
ahead?
Gamers Nexus currently, because they stuck all their radiators in a big cooler. They went and got a big cooler, filled it with ice water, and they're going crazy.
So it's 3D Mark Time Spy graphics or overall?
They're competing in all of them, but it's
okay.
overall on the leaderboard.
That's funny. That's great.
So overclocked 18 core with. Okay, interesting. Interesting. There might be some way we can get in on this. I'm trying to think of some way. A lazy, easy way to do it.
You can't go much further. Y'all should go check it out.
Dunk it in the bay.
Jay's
Yeah, San Francisco
2
Bay, right
cents,
outside of-
Gamers Nexus.
Yeah, dunk it in the bay.
That's awesome.
Oh, and by the way, Super XFi. It is XXS is in Sierra, X in X-ray, F Foxtrot, I India, XXFI.com. It's creative. They don't even brand it creative, interestingly. It is
Really?
the Super XFi, and it is that thing they showed off.
All right, we need to reach out and talk to
Adam
them.
price,
I don't care.
$219.
I don't
You
care.
don't care.
I
You don't
I'm
care.
Buying it. Buying it.
He doesn't care about price. He's buying one to go with this 2080 Ti.
Exactly. Perfect. Last question from Spearmint55 on Twitch. What's your favorite kind of pizza? Gordon.
Oh, the absolute I'm gonna make people angry. In San Francisco, pizza sucks. Like San Francisco's
Yeah,
got like
true.
the worst pizza
I don't think that's
in the
gonna get
world.
anybody angry.
I'm saying this hopefully to piss off my boss. New York pizza is the best pizza. You can get a slice, $1.50 at like 2:00 in the morning at a one of those food carts outside of the bus station in NYC. It will be better than 99% of the pizza in New York. The absolute
in
pizza
San Francisco?
that my favorite pizza is, it's in the East Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. What the heck is the name of it? I eat there so rarely. Oh, Zachary's Pizza. Deep dish pizza. Oakland will throw down with Chicago pizza. I've eaten at the best deep dish pizza place in Chicago. Ain't no comparison to Zachary's.
So I was just in New York, and I have to say that it tastes great, but you have to eat the New York pizza. You have to sort of roll it up, right? Because literally, you could take a
Pizza burrito.
Well, yeah, but you could take like a cup, right? And the grease just kind of just pours right into that cup.
Taste goes out, you mean? Yes.
So I'm sitting here in I'm going to be going to this press event, and I'm supposed to be looking, kind of nice, anyways. And I'm just wondering, okay, when is this going to drip into my shirt and cause me to I don't know, have to go ahead and back to my hotel room and change and so forth. So it was good, but I'm still West Coast. The best pizza I ever had was a tiny little place in my hometown, when I would live there in Pleasanton, called Bellina's. Of course, it's gone now, but
Imaginary unicorn pizza, then, Mark.
So I'm just I don't know. I don't have a preference for where we eat now. I do. If you're looking for flavor,
what's your favorite kind?
I'm a salami and sausage fan.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I've not heard of
Oh, I
salami.
thought we were actually looking for like brand.
No. The actual
like
pizza.
crispy, crunchy chicken.
He doesn't
That's
care.
some
I mean,
damn
yeah,
good
Yeah,
shit,
the actual
folks.
kind of pizza, you know.
He's gonna fly out here.
The best place I ever had pizza was the White Clam Pizza at Pepe's in Connecticut.
Clam's
but
good. Yeah.
go to
Ooh.
anywhere that I go to, my favorite pizza, sacrilege, pepperoni, and pineapple. You get the sweet, you get the spicy.
Nice. Yes, I love pineapple.
I'm not a pineapple fan.
Wait, is that a real place? Isn't that like from Family Guy?
Sacrilege.
With the bar they go to?
No, it's legendary. No, it's so good.
That's funny.
You got to wait outside in line for like 3 hours, and they only take cash. So if somebody walked by,
Oh, man. That's
hipster
hipster
place.
stuff.
and it was worth it the one time. I would never do it again because pizza is still the crappy pizza is still good enough that you don't want to wait 3 hours. But that was easily the best pizza I ever had.
Yeah, the best pizza I ever had was a place in Austin. They had a Detroit-style deep dish, which is different than Chicago deep dish.
Do they bring it on fire or something like that?
I don't
or-
know. I can't tell you the specifics of it, but my go-to,
There's no water in the crust.
yeah, no, it glowed green for some reason. It was really weird. No, my go-to pizza is a white pizza. I always like white with spinach. That's
What?
A white sauce, like a
I don't know.
God damn
It's
it.
good. I like it.
What's
Alfredo
it called?
sauce.
Alfredo sauce, yes.
Oh.
Alfredo
Yeah.
sauce on a pizza with spinach and, some meat. Oh, yeah. Sausage, probably. Yeah.
I don't consider Chicago-style deep dish pizza to be pizza. I consider it to be like a fancy pie.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
but you know what? The best in the nation, Zachary's Pizza, Oakland. That's where you got to get him.
We also have the one and only Elena Yee in the YouTube chat.
Her pizza
and
choice?
She's wondering what Gordon's take on Tony's and Slice House is here in SF.
Oh, the pizza?
Yeah,
They got pizza there?
at Tony's and Slice House.
It's all right. I mean, it's probably like I'm serious. There's something
It's
about
aight.
San Francisco. It's just not the pizza here is just like that's probably one of the places that's probably the best, like among the top 5 in San Francisco. The rest of them are just bad pizza makers.
Yeah, actually, Slice House I don't find too bad. It's fine,
You got to
For
do
a pizza.
Zachary's.
Not
if
to
you
change
want
the
deep dish.
subject, but the one thing I hate about East Coast food is New York has this belief that they have the best pickles. I absolutely hate New
best
York
bagels, best pickles.
Pickles. I absolutely hate New York pickles. I love diners. I absolutely love diners, and especially when I go back to New York, I always eat at diners because my heart will give out in 2 years. But they're 24 hours, so I can go ahead and eat there. And every time they serve me a pickle, it's just like, you guys don't know what a pickle is.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Oh, it tastes like cynicism and despair. It tastes like a
Wow.
New York pickle tastes like a New York pickle. A New York pickle tastes like a New York accent.
Throwing
You get this
down.
sort of this whiny,
Oh my god! I just want to like cry.
Yeah.
Just, like,
I'm just imagining this
curl
really
up.
like
It's like
limp.
I
it's like
came
the
back.
worst
I
pickle in the world.
I came back and I came back and it was like 11 o'clock last night and I went to Mel's Drive-In, and I was just like, that is a West Coast. That's a true diner. That's a good diner.
I just, my god,
He
that's-
went and got a jar of pickles, dumped out the pickles, and drank the straight juice just to get the essence back.
I do that actually. I will buy. I'm honest to God, I will buy pickles. We'll buy pickles out here, and I will sip on the juice when
Nice.
it's done.
Nice.
I like pickles.
Nothing wrong
Okay,
with that.
I'm
Nothing wrong
with you
that.
on the pickles, but I didn't know that New York pickles. I'm going there soon. I'm gonna have a pickle. I gotta see
Go
like.
have a pickle.
It just sounds like.
do they
it's
try
sort
to
of like?
They're awful.
Well,
Did you
because
get like a box of Kleenex so you can cry? I mean,
No, they're awful.
Well,
Yeah,
and
they're awful.
I've heard of them, talking up the bagels because of the water. Like, are they trying to say like the water that they use for these pickles is
I don't
like what's
know.
their justification?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe
Weird.
ancestrally, I have a German last name, and Germans kind of invented the pickle, so maybe it has to do with
Really?
it. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah,
All right.
they go back to India, but Germany's kind of considered to be the
Pickles go way back.
They go way back.
I'm just thinking, God, these pickles must be bad. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
they're
like,
not
I mean, it's like there's an emotional response.
It is an
You're
emotional
just like,
response. It was very visceral.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. You know what? I should try that next time in New York.
All right.
You
We've
too,
gone off the
Gordon.
rails.
Yeah.
We have gone off the
Yeah,
rails.
it's time to be done because I'm hungry now.
Yeah,
a lot of people in chat saying they're going to order
I'm
pizza
not hungry
because
now.
of this.
I'm going to take a nap.
So check back hopefully next week for your fix of PC Talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And also, please leave us a review. Every time you do, maybe a
pickle will get better.
New York Pixels. Pickles will get a little less depressed. Send questions and comments to thefullnerd.com. We will read the comments while eating New York pickles. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Ung with Brad Charkis. He's oh my God!
No,
Sad emoji.
No
He
more.
had New York pickle. I'm gonna buy some and bring it back, Mark.
Go ahead.
Also, thank you for Mark Hawkman's pickle hating self.
Yep, that's me.
And Adam
Thanks, guys.
Patrick Murray is going to mercifully hit the off switch.
Go out and order a pizza with pickles on it,
Ugh.
or not.
Man, despair.